Hello and welcome. My name is George O'Brien and I am a student in the University of Galway. Today I'd like to talk about information on YouTube, specifically how different content creators convey and spread what they want to say, what they wish for you, the viewer, to hear. As you may well know, YouTube is a massive platform with 2.7 billion users, and more than 122 million users use the platform daily, with the majority being aged 25 to 34 years old. As a search engine that is second only to Google popularity and at the same time a platform where absolutely anyone with an internet connection can post content with few rules and regulations, YouTube is an optimal environment for the distribution of false or misleading information. This is where the issue arises. People can post content regardless of the authenticity of the information they provide. Yet that information can be and is taken seriously by the population, which results in real-life consequences. This brings the subject of parasocial relationships into focus. Originally something only seen with celebrities and their fans, the term has now expanded to include internet influencers as well. Parasocial interactions are defined by Sheng as individuals' perception of direct, instantaneous, and one-to-many communication with another party through media as a one-to-one. This type of relationship can significantly impact a viewer in a myriad of ways, both with negative and positive influences, such as physical and mental health, social connections, and eudaimonic well-being. The resulting relationship can be described as close or intimate, highlighting the strength of the psychological connection, most often from the perspective of the consumer or viewer. And the relationship is also characterized as dynamic, as it needs duration and continuity and can also evolve over time. A crucial factor regarding these kind of relationships is that viewers come to trust these content creators, supporting and agreeing with the personas presented online. Studies have shown that viewers become trusting of the people whose content they consume, because they can relate to them on some level, even though generally the influencer questions knows absolutely nothing about the viewer. This one-sided relationship gives influencers an air of authenticity just by itself, something that can be easily abused or used for good. You might be wondering what is misinformation, and subsequently what is disinformation. Well, to quote the European Union, disinformation encompasses misleading content that is spread with an intention to deceive or secure economic or political gain, and which may cause public harm. And misinformation as false or misleading content shared without harmful intent, though the effects can still be harmful. So disinformation are straight up lies told face value for some gain, while misinformation can be bent truth intended to mislead or lies believed to be true. Breaking it down with examples, disinformation will be an out of context photograph presented as something that doesn't reflect reality, or a completely falsified news article, whereas misinformation is mistaking construction work for an earthquake or poorly organized and displayed statistics. The problem is that there will be a subsection of viewers who see information online and will take it as is, trusting the information without giving it much thought, especially if it aligns with what they already believe or suspect. After all, why would anyone ever lie on the internet? A great variety of topics and issues exist that suffer from misinformation and disinformation, from politics and scientific fact to health and technology. If I made a video looking at everything, it would need to be several hours long at least, and I likely would be detained by government officials. So to get into a specific topic and narrow the lens a bit, I'll be looking into climate change, or the climate change hoax, depending on your point of view. Climate change is something that affects absolutely anyone around the globe, regardless of where one lives, what financial situation they're in, how old they are, what beliefs they hold, or anything else. Whether you believe it or not, it will affect your life and the people surrounding you. To get into the grid of statistics, data gathered by the World Meteorological Organization shows that as of 2024, the global mean temperature was 1.55 degrees Celsius above the average in 1850s to 1900s, the hottest in recorded history. The previous hottest being the year 2023, and 2022 before that. Although it can be hard to believe, we are currently coming out of an ice age. However, the temperature increase we're experiencing over a few years is what would have naturally happened over several centuries. With current temperatures, we could see an increase of water level of 1 meter, while only 30 to 60 centimeters will result in displacement of millions of people and severe damage to coastal settlements and infrastructure. Climate change also has a myriad other concerning consequences that both the European Commission and NASA share opinions on. Extreme weather events, such as wildfires, drought, and floods. Changing weather patterns affecting agriculture and food production. Threats to the economy and infrastructure. Population displacement. Loss of animal species and natural environments. Water and air quality. And the most imperative of all, a compound of negative effects on human health and well-being. The list goes on and on. Not exactly ideal for my long-term plans of global dominance. Now, a large sample of the population will take issue with those claims, or at the very least partially disagree with them. Needless to say, climate change, denialism or skepticism has existed for a very long time, and has been resisted by the scientific community and activists, making it harder for them to deny climate change and global warming. Subsequently, we are now seeing skeptics and deniers switching to a new form of denialism, where instead of outright saying climate change isn't happening, they take on the slyer stance of seizing doubt and misinformation, questioning the severity of claims and the motives of scientists, politicians, and activists. A strategy that has taken root quite well, as there is a lot more conversation to be had when questioning the validity and authenticity of something as opposed to outright denying it, making it very popular in talk shows, podcasts, and other similar formats. There are countless arguments that are used when it comes to New Age denial. Claims such as the impacts of global warming are beneficial or harmless, climate solutions won't work, the current policies and solutions are harmful, people will suffer from them, the climate science and climate movement are untrustworthy and or unreliable, and so on, concluding that the situation isn't as bad as it seems, or things are needlessly over-exaggerated. The scientists and politicians can't be trusted. This is a newer approach, admitting that climate change is happening, but there are caveats to it, where the whole picture is different from what people are led to believe. A classic maneuver when an original stance and argument are failing or losing traction. Simply make up something new that changes the criteria. To underscore this, we'll look at a video made by John Stossel on the YouTube channel Stossel TV.
Who is John Stossel?
John Stossel has been one of the most distinctive voices in all of journalism.
John Stossel is a proclaimed libertarian journalist who currently primarily focuses on producing content on his YouTube channel, where he's also the presenter.
The media did once like me. They like my consumer reporting.
We are not ripping people off.
They like my confrontations.
You and your cronies in government. For you to call these people cronies is very unfair.
I think this is fake. You think it's fake?
He is known as a host on ABC News, Fox Business Network, and Reason TV.
But then, I started criticizing government.
I'm going to fire whoever scheduled this interview.
Politicians didn't like that.
He has been in journalism since 1969.
And ABC didn't love it. So I went to Fox. But I fought with people there, too. You are ignorant and arrogant.
And has accrued a great amount of knowledge and experience over the years, over a multitude of roles and positions, which give him a unique, in-depth understanding of the world. However, knowledge can not only be used to enlighten others, but also to manipulate the perspective of others. Recently, his channel released this two-part video, which he claims with confidence will debunk 7 climate change myths. To support him with this Herculean task, he brings in a specialist from the Heartland Institute, Linnea Lucan, and presents her to watchers as an expert on climate change, whom he introduces as an environmental threat researcher in the first video.
As we exit ice ages, you should expect some ice melt, but it's not happening at nearly the catastrophic pace that they claim.
Heartland Research Fellow Linnea Lucan researches environmental threats.
Then an extreme weather researcher in the second.
Droughts are absolutely not getting worse.
Heartland Research Fellow Linnea Lucan studies extreme weather.
To provide some context, the Heartland Institute is a conservative and libertarian think tank, which is a type of organization that performs research and advocacy concerning topics such as social policy, politics, strategy, economics, military technology, and culture, and presents their proposals to politicians and governments. The work of the Heartland Institute specifically started with trying to disprove the negative health effects of smoking cigarettes and lobbied against smoking bans. Since that failed, they switched their entire focus of the organization to promoting climate change denial. According to the New York Times, Heartland is the primary American organization pushing climate change skepticism. Now, to be an expert on these things, Linnea Lucan must be a scientist of some kind, someone who has dedicated years to studying the sciences and understanding the scientific process. Only she isn't. Far from it. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in Petroleum Engineering, a degree obviously tailored for an industry that is definitely not interested in discrediting climate change. I feel like it would be fair to say that disqualifies her as an expert on climate change, but of course that doesn't mean she doesn't understand climate change itself. So let's look at something actually said in the video.
The great polar ice sheets, which are melting faster than many scientists had anticipated.
If global warming continues at the present rate, then the Arctic could already be ice-free by the summer of 2030.
That's myth one. The Arctic will soon be ice-free.
If the entire Greenland ice sheet was lost, sea levels would increase by 7 meters.
That's 22 feet. At just 6 feet, one storm surge could leave London underwater, says this BBC documentary. This could happen this century, they say. But is the ice really melting that fast? No.
As we exit ice ages, you should expect some ice melt, but it's not happening at nearly the catastrophic pace that they claim.
The studies in Arctic sea ice don't show a catastrophic decline, although ice has melted.
It's really leveled off in recent years, and in the winter, it all comes right back to where it was before.
All of it?
In recent years, yeah, all of it.
For the past 20 years, it's been largely stable.
I'm sorry, all of it comes back? So why is the graph all the way down here and not back at the levels observed in 1980?
And anyway, this is just sea ice, ice in the water, not the total amount of ice in the Arctic. Almost all the Arctic's ice is on land, and this is the trend line for that ice. You can barely see any decline.
They can't be serious, right? I'll get back to this, but the variation in total Arctic ice, by the way John refers to this as the trend line for land ice, is a straight line. No fluctuations between summer and winter. It remains at a slight gradual decline throughout the years.
Compared to the amount of ice that's in the Arctic, it is like a grain of sand on the beach. It is so minuscule compared to the amount of ice that's there that it doesn't even show up on a trend chart when you plot it.
Throughout the video, they emphasize and reinforce the idea that anything they can say can be looked up online and proven very easily. So why don't we do just that? Let's look at the very first claim. The ice in Antarctica isn't melting as fast as people are saying. Just looking at little excerpts of a few different Google searches, we can see many sources saying that the ice is indeed melting, including NASA. Searching Antarctica ice in Google Scholar and Mendeley also reveals a plethora of papers and articles confirming the gradual decline of ice mass, even if you filter the sources from the past 2 years. John Stossel and Linnea Lucan do provide sources for the claims throughout the video. Looking into those even on a surface level, we can see a research paper taken out of context and improperly interpreted. Coincidentally, the specific paper is partially funded by the NASA Cryosphere program and is used in a report stating that ice mass is indeed decreasing despite the temporary period of decreased ice melting. Additionally, Dr. Mark England of the University of Exeter explains how due to complex physical phenomena at this scale, this slowdown may continue for a couple of years or so. However, after that we can see a rapid increase in ice loss as the planet continues to warm, leading to catastrophic consequences. The next one is a graph that outright shows ice mass is on a decreasing trend, even if it's not as rapid of a decline. And finally, best of all, we have a link to a zipped.dat file that you need to extract and then format. Not exactly easily accessible. But I've done that for you. And as you can see, it's the same graph as before. As for the atrocious straight line graph, I have no idea where they got that data. I could not find the dataset from the link they provided, nor anywhere on the Polar Science Center website. The link they provided does have an ice thickness dataset, which after extraction looks like this. A vaguely familiar picture, it seems. Contrasting those two videos, I'd like to point your attention to a less popular but nonetheless relevant channel, Andrew Lawrence Comedy, hosted by Andrew Lawrence. In the videos, the approach is simply to make fun of the situation, without much rhyme or reason. Now, if you can look past the racist, sexist, and generally intolerant remarks, some points of criticism are actually well-founded. Nonetheless, his method of presenting his jokes is designed in a way that dangerously undermines the importance and severity of climate change, without providing much of an alternative view. Intolerance and ridicule for the sake of maintaining a small, dedicated audience to make ends meet. Comparing the two pairs of videos, there's a stark difference in the type of content, execution, and quality. John Stossel's video cover complicated issues and invite discord, while Andrew Lawrence doesn't serve much beyond short entertainment. John's videos are well edited, provide images, clips, and pop-ups. Andrew's consists of a single uncut take, only featuring him. Nonetheless, they are both considered new denial channels when it comes to climate change. However, whereas John's videos are structured in a way that invites the viewer to interact and give the impression that there is a conversation between the viewer and presenter, provide new material, could spark a debate, and are generally more multifaceted with layered themes. Andrew simply talks to the camera, following a single narrative, and his videos can only serve to reinforce existing beliefs. New denial content creators seek to sow doubt and misinformation or disinformation about climate change. Obviously, some of them actually believe what they're saying, or at least partially believe, but there is no denying that certain parties benefit from resistance to climate change. Now, of course, certain parties also benefit from climate action. That is also true. The question is, which option benefits you specifically? In one, the rich get richer, our world decays, natural beauty vanishes, and health deteriorates globally. In the other, corporations and billionaires are held accountable. You get to experience clean air and water, and your family get to experience the beauty and wonders of nature. And technological progress serves the people rather than a select few. The whole situation brings to mind a quote by Donella Meadows. "We'll go down in history as the first society that wouldn't save itself because it wasn't cost effective." What truly is profit worth? Now, this is all great and wonderful, of course, you might think, but what can you do about it? First of all, be informed. Think critically. I've added some links for some resources. It is a very important skill that will help you throughout your life. Being aware, being knowledgeable is also your responsibility. When false information is presented to you, it may very well harm you if you accept it as true. Vote for politicians and parties that actually have your interests in mind and have a history of a positive approach to climate change. Your money is another type of vote you possess, sometimes called dollar voting. There are environmentally friendly products, banks, funds, and organizations that can give you the same as the alternative. Choose which celebrities you support, which actions or inactions you condone. Talk to your friends and families, to your neighbors, communities, elected representatives. In the end, climate change isn't about supporting or not supporting certain organizations or politicians. It's about your health and future, your family's health, the future of your children. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have found something interesting or informative in it. Stay safe and be well.